السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا محمدًا عبده ورسوله أرسله الله تعالى بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا. فصلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته واهتدى بهديه إلى يوم الدين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل بدعة ضلالة. My dear respected brothers in Islam, as always, I begin by humbly requesting that you turn off these electronic devices, cell phones and pagers, which have a tendency to ring at the most inopportune time and disturb us during our ibadah. And as always, I humbly request that you open your ears, your minds, and your hearts to what I'm about to say. Al-Bukhari and Muslim, rahimahumullah ta'ala, have collected on the authority of Anas ibn Malik the hadith in which the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, he said, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. He said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in this hadith, none of you truly believes until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. Let's look a little bit more closely at the words of the hadith before we get into its deeper meaning. Said, لا يؤمن أحدكم. Said, none of you truly believes. None of you. The wording chosen by the Prophet ﷺ makes this a general rule, without exceptions. لا يؤمن أحدكم. None of you truly believes. Brothers and sisters, faith is levels. It's degrees. And some of those levels are required. And some of them are highly recommended. The Prophet is telling us here that this level is required. Which means that if we don't fulfill it, although our faith will still be intact, we will not become disbelievers, our faith will be considered deficient, incomplete, and lacking in some respects. La yu'minu ahadukum. None of you truly believes the way that is required. Hatta yuhibba li akhi. Until he loves for his brother, his Muslim or her Muslim brother or sister, ma yuhibbu li nafsi. Here, the Prophet ﷺ is teaching us, brothers and sisters, that in Islam, loving for our fellow Muslims, what we love for ourselves, and treating them as we ourselves would like to be treated is required. And not merely recommended, it is also a sign of true faith. In another wording of the hadith, he said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, حَتَّى يُحِبَّ لِأَخِيهِ مِنَ الْخَيْرِ مَا يُحِبُّ لِنَفْسِهِ. Until he loves for his brother from the good things what he loves for himself. And this is important because it tells us a few things and conveys to us what exactly or what does this hadith encompass in terms of meanings. So from the meanings of the hadith, what it includes or entails are the permissible worldly things. That there are some things that are permissible in the world that we all love for ourselves. We love food and clothing and shelter. We love being employed. We love having good health. Just like we love these things for ourselves, we should love them for our fellow Muslims. It also encompasses the meaning of acts of obedience. Those beliefs, those words, those deeds that will earn us Allah's reward and draw us closer and closer to Him. Just like we love those things for ourselves, we should love them for our brothers and sisters in faith as well. And Imam al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah ta'ala, he famously said, مَا نَاظَرْتُ أَحَدًا إِلَّا وَدَدْتُ أَنْ يُظْهِرَ اللَّهُ الْحَقَّ عَلَى لِسَانِهِ. He said, I never debated any person, except that I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would cause him to speak the truth instead of me. Al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah ta'ala, he actually hoped that his opponent would win the debate and get the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this teaches us, brothers and sisters, why a nasiha, giving advice, encouraging our brothers and sisters to do good, is such an integral part, such a major part of our religion. Because just like we want to get those blessings from Allah, those rewards from Allah for doing good, we should want the same blessings and rewards to be the nasib, to be the share of our brothers and sisters in faith as well. Another meaning of the hadith, and this is important for us to realize because I think some of us perhaps we don't realize this particular meaning, is that if we are negligent in all or some of our religious duties, not praying on time, praying intermittently, off and on. We pray and then we stop praying, we pray, we stop praying, or other things that we do which can be considered negligence of our religious duties. Or we violate some of Allah's commands. Drinking, smoking, gambling, using foul language, etc. We're doing some of those things that Allah doesn't like. Part of the meaning of this hadith is that just like we shouldn't like those things for ourselves, we shouldn't like for our brother and sister to do those things that we do that we know are wrong. We shouldn't want them to be like us if we are negligent. We should want them to be better than us because the Prophet said, حَتَّى يُحِبَّ لِأَخِيهِ مَا يُحِبُّ لِنَفْسِهِ مِنَ الْخَيْرِ, until he loves for his brother from the good things what he loves for himself. Fudail ibn Iyad, he said, إن كنت تريد أن يكون الناس مثلك وأنت مقصر فما أديت لله الكريم النصيحة فكيف وأنت تود أن يكونوا فكيف وأنت تود أنهم دونك. He said, rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, if you want people to be like you in your sinfulness, then you have not been sincere in fulfilling your duty to Allah the Beneficent. So what should be said if you long for them to be even worse than you are? If you see them doing wrong, or you're doing something wrong and you see them, they're going to do something even worse than you do. And rather than tell them, hey, don't do this. Don't look at me. I'm not your example. I'm not your role model. Instead of doing that, we encourage them and we egg them on. Last but not least, from the meanings contained in this hadith, is that the opposite meaning is also intended. That, brothers and sisters, we have to hate for our fellow Muslims, our brothers and sisters in Islam, what we hate for ourselves. We hate to be unemployed. We hate to be poor. We hate to be in poverty. We hate to be homeless. We hate to be helpless. We hate to have poor health and so on and so forth. Just like we hate these things for ourselves, we should hate them for our brothers. There are things that we hate that if they were to happen to us, we should also hate if they were to happen to someone else. One of the commentators, he said, وَمِنْ لَازِمِ هَذَا الْحَدِيثِ أن يكره المسلم لأخيه ما يكرهه لنفسه فكما أنك تكره لنفسك الشر والضرر فإنك تكرهه أيضا لأخيك فلا تتناوله بشر ولا تضر به ولا تغشه ولا تخونه لأنك تكره هذه الأمور لنفسك. He said the implicit meaning of the hadith is that a Muslim must also dislike for his brother what he dislikes for himself. So just as you dislike mistreatment and hardship for yourself, you must dislike the same for your brother Muslim. So you shouldn't harm or mistreat him, cheat him, or betray him, because you dislike these things for yourself. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك بمحمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Al-Hafidh Ibn al-Salah, he said, commenting on this hadith, he said, وهذا قد يعد من الصعب الممتنع وليس كذلك، هو سهل قريب على القلب السليم وإنما يعسر على القلب الدغل. He said, rahimahullah ta'ala, this might be considered very difficult, to love for your brother what you love for yourself, to want for him what you want for yourself. It may seem very difficult or even impossible to achieve, but it isn't. It is easy and within reach for the one with a clean heart. It is only challenging for the person whose heart is foul or corrupt. In other words, brothers and sisters, this quality of loving for our brothers what we love for ourselves, it can't be achieved unless we free our hearts of treachery, hatred, malice, jealousy, etc. towards our fellow Muslims or some of our fellow Muslims. Because these feelings of hatred and malice and so on will lead the person to hate that any good would reach the person that they dislike and envy, and also lead them to find pleasure, waliyadu billah, in their suffering. If we understand this, brothers and sisters, while also understanding that this quality of loving for your brother what you love for yourself is a wajib, something we're required to do, and it is a requisite of faith. It is something that without it, if we don't have this quality, it means our faith is lacking. If we understand this, that this quality is required, and without cleansing our hearts, we can't achieve it, we'll understand that cleansing our hearts of these feelings, this hatred and malice and so on, is also required. We have to do that. The Prophet in a roundabout way, in an implicit way, is telling us that we're not true believers unless we cleanse our hearts of these ill feelings toward other Muslims. Because our religion teaches us, مَا لَا يَتِمُّ الْوَاجِبْ إِلَّا بِهِ فَهُوَ وَاجِبٌ. If the fulfillment of an obligation is predicated on another matter, then that other matter becomes an obligation as well. If we can't achieve this loving for our brother what we love for ourselves, without first cleansing our heart of these ill feelings toward other Muslims, then just like this is required, this is also required as well. Before we pray, I just want to make one announcement. And that is that, as you know, we're offering Fajr, Maghrib, and Isha prayers these days, given the return, if you will, from COVID. And I just want to give the Iqamah times for Salat al-Fajr. Tomorrow will be Salat al-Fajr, and for the entire week will be 6:30 a.m. And for Salat al-Isha for next week, it will be starting from tomorrow, 6:50 p.m. Remember, always come a few minutes early because we have to do the check-in, and we want to make the Iqamah on time so that we can pray and get you on your way. Again, 6:30 a.m. for Fajr, 6:50 p.m. for Salat al-Isha, and obviously, always, Salat al-Maghrib is 5 minutes after the Adhan. Allahumma a'izzil al-Islam wal-Muslimin, wa dhil al-shirka wal-mushrikeen, wa dammir a'da'aka a'da' al-millati wad-deen, wansur ibadaka al-muwahhidin ya Rabb al-Alameen. Allahumma man aradana, أو أراد ديننا أو أخوان المسلمين في أي مكان بسوء فأشغله في نفسي واجعل كيده في نحري واجعل تدبيره تدميرا عليه يا قوي يا عزيز. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين. اللهم إنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. اللهم إنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. اللهم إنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم آت أنفسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وقوموا إلى صلاتكم.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون وإذا رأوا تجارة أو لهوا انفضوا إليها وتركوك قائما قل ما عند الله خير من اللهو ومن التجارة والله خير الرازقين. الله سمع الله لمن حمده.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تلهكم أموالكم ولا أولادكم عن ذكر الله ومن يفعل ذلك فأولئك هم الخاسرون وأنفقوا مما رزقناكم من قبل أن يأتي أحدكم الموت من قبل أن يأتي أحدكم الموت فيقول رب لولا أخرتني إلى أجل قريب فأصدق وأكن من الصالحين ولن يؤخر الله نفسا إذا جاء أجلها والله خبير بما تعملون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.